Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, help a girl out. If you like this video, of course, I'm not gonna force you to do anything you don't want to do. I have a blog called CUDDLEPILL. You can find me on Instagram at CUDDLEPILL as well. Essentially what I do is I mix vintage with new. I haven't been doing a lot of shopping in stores because they've been closed the last 3 months. And you know me, I love my vintage. I miss thrifting so much. So I found myself, you know, kind of to satisfy my vintage thrifting addiction is the word to use, I think. Been shopping online a ton, so shopping secondhand vintage online. I realize it's tricky to navigate online vintage shopping, so I thought it would be cool to potentially share my tips as to like what sites I go to, how to navigate the complex world of buying vintage and thrifting online, and help you guys out a little bit. Parallel, while I'm gonna be talking through some of my tips on shopping vintage and thrifting online, I also wanna share some recent pieces that I've bought and style them up for you as well. So you'll see that weaved in to the video as I talk through the tips and the different places that I shop. If you're interested, keep on watching, lots of good stuff to come. Starting with the most important thing, and something that I don't even do all the time myself, but I've learned my lesson, let's just say, the last couple of months. Know your measurements and look at the measurements when they are posted on whatever site that you're shopping on. Sizing when it comes to vintage is not really accurate. For example, I normally wear a US 4 today, but I have vintage pieces that are like size 10, size 12, like it's all over the board. So it's really important to make sure you're paying attention to the measurements and know what your measurements are, so that when you're browsing for stuff, you know if something's like in your size range or not. Doesn't have to fit perfectly to start, but it needs to fit. And then depending on, you know, small tweaks that you need to make, you could tweak them yourself if you know how to sew, or take your pieces to the tailor. Take the measurements of pieces you're seeing online and compare them with measurements of clothing that you have that fits you really well. So like if you have a pair of jeans that you love that fit you perfectly in all the right places, measure those and then compare them to maybe vintage jeans you're shopping for online, so you know what to expect, you know? I made the mistake of not checking my measurements on a couple of items that I purchased the last couple months. Sometimes I just get lazy, you know? Like, oh, F it, I'm just gonna risk it. I'm gonna pull the trigger and fingers crossed it works out. But like, I've had a couple misses that I'm really bummed about. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Luckily, one of the pieces that I did not measure that ended up being too big on me, wool Bermuda shorts, because I was on the hunt for Bermuda shorts because I wanted to add a couple to my closet. It's a really beautiful navy wool Bermuda short, and actually I thought they were for sure gonna fit because I have this brand. It's Giorgio St. Angelo. If you guys have seen me wear my lime green linen high waist pants, they're all over my Instagram feed. It's the same brand, so I figured like, oh, if I get the same size, like they'll fit pretty similarly, and they did not. So these are slightly big. These are meant to be a little bit big, so it wasn't the end of the world. So literally what I do is I just kind of belt them really snug and I cinch them in. So this wasn't really that big of a deal that they were too big, but I just kind of want to show you guys an example of a time I did not check my measurements. Now the next one I was super bummed about because it was a really cute set. Let me show you. I was on the hunt just for like fun summer pieces, like colorful. I'm really into like embroidered pieces at the moment, and you'll see that pop up later in this video. Hint, hint. Found this two-piece set on Depop and I was obsessed. It's like 70s. Look at these pants. And they're like wide leg flare pants, which normally these look awesome on me. I just know that this is a fit that is super flattering on my body type. They came with this gorgeous button down top. It's like Western, but it's got this like really cool embroidered detailing. You guys saw this shirt in one of my recent videos. I forget which one it was, but I'll link to it in the card so you can see it. But it does fit well. It's a little bit snug in the boob area. Unfortunately, the pants don't fit, and I was really sad about it. It's not even like they're just a little snug, like they won't even zip up. Like it was way off. That story, because how freaking cute would it have been to wear these two together? Like, oh, so bummed. Anyway, measure yourself, pay attention to the measurements when you shop vintage online, or really anything online, whether it's vintage or new. It's better to be careful versus just like buying a bunch of stuff that you can't return and you end up just like accumulating a bunch of shit in your closet that you're not gonna wear. Next thing that's super important is to pay attention to the fabric composition of the pieces that you're buying. I steer away from like rayons, polyester, acrylic if I can, unless it's like native to whatever trend I'm shopping. So think like the dagger collar shirts is like a super 70s shirt, and most of them are probably gonna be acrylic or polyester. So I'll make exceptions in those cases, but like generally speaking, when I shop vintage or thrift in general, not even just online, I look for certain materials like wool, cashmere, I love me, silk, pieces, like anything silk, jumpsuits, dresses, skirts, tops. Also for summer, 100% cotton and linen. Those are like my go-to materials. Make sure to look at what the materials are, and if they're not listed, to ask, because it's super important and is like basically critical in how the pieces are gonna look. If you want more of like a clean, polished, like higher end look and want your pieces to look higher end than they are, pay attention to the material, because that's basically like a deal breaker. If it's a shitty material, it's gonna not fit properly, it's gonna look cheap, and you don't want that. In terms of where to shop, so I shop a variety of places online. Depends on what I'm looking for. I kind of go to different shops based on what I'm looking for. If you're looking for high end, and I'm saying like Chanel, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, specifically for bags and shoes and like accessories, I say do not go to sites like Poshmark or Depop. There isn't as much inventory listed on those sites for high end, and secondly, you don't know if it's authentic. And the biggest thing when it comes to big brands like that is you want to make sure anywhere you're buying from, it's authenticated. So I always go to shops like The Real, which tends to be a little overpriced in my opinion, but it is authenticated, which is nice. The shop that I really love and I find better deals on, and they also authenticate all their items, is Vestaire Collective. I'll link to all of the shops that I'll mention in this video in the description. You don't want to get a fake and spend a ton of money on it. The cool thing about Vestaire Collective is they have stuff from all around the world, and you can negotiate. So Real is like, this is the price, either you pay it or buy. Vestaire Collective, you can actually put an offer in, and I think it's like 70% of the listing price, and initiates like a negotiation with the seller. If you're not familiar with Vestaire Collective, let's walk through an example of how you would initiate a negotiation, what the app looks like, all that good stuff. So they do have an app. I find the app to be super helpful. Highly recommend downloading it if you're gonna shop there. You have to create an account similar to The Real, where you have to create an account with them just to see all their inventory. It doesn't like charge you a monthly fee or anything like that, just to get access to the site. Let's open up Vestaire Collective. I also think they do such a good job of curating their app. So they show like pieces that they love. They will have like recent designers that you should check out. A lot of seasonal stuff like spring essentials. So like, let's go into spring essentials. Sandals, I'm looking at sandals and I wanna filter for sandals that are my size. So I'm a size 8. And I can also filter for condition. So I could say I want items that are in very good condition, have never been worn, and have never been worn with tags. And then you can also filter for items that their editors have curated, which I really like to do. So now I'm looking at a smaller subset of inventory. So like these sandals, super cute, pricey. I want to make an offer on these. So you go into make an offer, and then you can basically say, you know, I want to put in an offer for, it actually has to be 70%, I don't know what the math is there, but say like I want to put an offer for 300, and then I hit that little send button. I don't want to trigger a negotiation here, but essentially what that does is it triggers a negotiation with the seller, and then you can go back and forth and agree on the price. There are authentication fees associated with Vestaire Collective, and there are shipping fees and all that. So all of that will get total at the end once you agree on a price with the seller, and you'll see your new total after that negotiation is over. The cool thing about Vestaire Collective is if like you see all the charges pop up at the end and you decide you don't want the item, you don't have to buy it. I found an awesome piece on Vestaire Collective recently. It was this mauve wrap dress. It's like this beautiful floral obsession. I was like on the hunt for spring, summer floral dresses, and Maj just has beautiful stuff. And like these dresses are normally like 500 bucks when you buy them brand new. This product has never been worn, brand new, my size, and like exactly what I wanted, and I got it for 80 bucks. So that's just like an example of the types of deals you can find on Vestaire Collective. Again, you can find some great stuff on RealReal too. I just find that their prices tend to be a little bit higher than Vestaire. And I love the negotiation, so if there's a negotiation involved, count me in. I'm gonna go to that shop. If you're looking for designer, but like smaller brands, not like the major designers, so think of brands like Tibby or Simon Miller, I recommend hitting up Poshmark. I go to Poshmark for kind of like smaller designers or just like general kind of main brands that I love. So you could think of like Madewell if you're a fan of J. Crew. I find Poshmark to be a great place for those brands just because there's so much inventory and you don't have to worry about authentication, and there is a negotiation factor in Poshmark purchases. So the way I navigate Poshmark, there's so much shit on there. So what I do is I don't look at my feed. I don't join any of those parties. I don't know, like if you do join those parties and find them valuable, please drop me a comment and like tell me how you navigate that, because I find it like so overwhelming. But let me walk you through kind of how I navigate Poshmark. There's an app, I always use the app. So I'll kind of walk through what that looks like. This is what the homepage looks like. It's all kind of their recommendations, trending brands, and actually these brands listed here are ones that I've selected that I want to follow. So say we click on Miriam Nesterzadeh, you can follow specific brands so that they show up in your home feed. So they probably surface these, actually not that I follow them, but they probably surface these brands because I've searched for them before. So now we're in Miriam Nesterzadeh. So like these are filters and you can select. So my size information is already saved in the app, so it automatically filters for things that are my size, which is great. So you can see like my shoe size is size 8, and they've surfaced a bunch of products that hit those filters. So these are wedges I've been obsessing over for a long time. Oh, they're so amazing. So say I love a piece like these wedges and the price is too high, I'm not ready to pull the trigger on it. What I'll do is I'll just heart the item, and what happens is when the seller adjusts the price, I'll get a notification. And then sometimes with Poshmark, what sellers can do is they can send an offer just to people that have liked the item. So say they want to run like a discount and just release it to the people that have liked the item, you'll get access to that special discount that you wouldn't normally if you didn't like the item. So recommend doing that. If I do want to make an offer and I'm ready, you just hit offer. And the cool thing about Poshmark is you can literally put in an offer. You can lowball it, like there is no threshold. So like, let's say I wanna put an offer, I'm not gonna do this right now, but say I wanna put an offer for like 100 bucks, all I have to do is hit next, and basically it will trigger then a negotiation with the seller. So then there's like a back and forth, you agree on a price, and boom, your sale has been made, and that's all you gotta do. So I go to Poshmark more so for brands that I love, smaller designer brands, not necessarily just to look broadly for like a trend, because I feel like there's just so much on there that then it's really hard to narrow it down to quality pieces. It's like not as curated as some other shops, which hint, hint, I'll get into if you're looking to shop specific trends. Next tip is around how to navigate that. I want to share some of my recent finds on Poshmark. I've been on this like St. John kick, which is hilarious. It's like shit my grandma would wear, but I'm obsessed with. It's like really high quality knit pieces. I found this like gorgeous bright orange, like tangerine orange knit dress. It's got like a very 60s vibe to it and some like cool detailing around the neckline. I think this is such a cute dress for summer. Very like 60s mod, but there's like a way to make it, you know, on trend and current. So adore this dress. This was such an awesome find. And again, because it's an amazing like light wool material, you could tell it's like good quality and it looks high end. The other piece I bought from St. John on Poshmark are these really fun high waist knit like baggy shorts. These are just like a great like beach short running near the pool with like your cute bikini top. They'd be cute to style up with like a one-piece bathing suit, and just like fun in general to wear with like a crop top, with a denim jacket. Just like a really fun, comfy summer short that again is like a fun, bright color, which I'm super into lately. And also that same really high quality material. I love Escada's vintage pieces, so I searched for Escada and found these amazing Bermuda shorts. So I was on the hunt for Bermuda shorts. These are like white summer Bermuda shorts, high waist, they're vintage Escada, have this like beautiful gold detailing. Again, they are kind of like mom shorts, but that's like the whole point of the trend. So I was able to find these bad boys on there. Love these with like a fun sandal, like a strappy sandal. You can wear them with sneakers. So I found those. And then lastly, on the topic of Simon Miller, you guys saw that was a brand that I hit up frequently on Poshmark. I found these Simon Miller athleisure pants. They're like sweats, they're like cotton. Basically, they're like cotton pants. So they're like elevated sweatpants, which have been clutch in quarantine. These are like a beautiful maroon color, wide leg, cropped, so killer. I am obsessed with these and have been wearing the F out of them the last 2 months. Also great to pair with longer shirts, cropped shirts. You can pair with jackets, sandals, sneakers. They're just so versatile. And I got these for, I think 70 bucks, and they run for like 300 retail value. And these are brand new, never been worn on Poshmark. Poshmark is great for brands like these, where you don't have to worry about them being fake and you can find some really amazing deals. Moving on to, I alluded to earlier, so if you want to shop just like a broad trend, and especially for vintage, you don't really have a brand in mind most of the time, right? You're like, oh, I want to jump on this Bermuda shorts trend, or I want to jump on this dagger collar trend, which is what I did a couple months ago. That is an example of when I would hit up Depop. If I'm looking for just like a specific trend that I know I can find vintage, I'll head to that app because I feel like the products are more curated and it's like a better shopping experience versus Poshmark, which has like so much inventory and a lot of like not great stuff. I'll hit up Depop and let me open up the app so I can kind of show you guys my process. So let's open up Depop. And again, with Depop, similar to Poshmark, you have kind of your feed. You can follow your favorite shops. So if I want to search for a specific trend, let's use the dagger collar trend as an example. So you search for dagger collar and you can filter for your size. So like my size is saved. You can see it's women's wear bottoms 4, shoes 8, tops 4, any brand, any price. And you see it pulls up about little under 200 items, which is great. It's like, that's totally manageable to sift through. So then you can go in and see what's available. And like you can see, they just have like so many fun vintage pieces that are like really well curated, I feel like. One thing to note about Poshmark is like you go and the prices are set. Sometimes shops run discounts like you see here, this 15% off. Say I see a product that I love and maybe I'm not ready to pull the trigger on it, you can save it. You hit the heart and you can save it to a collection, and you can see like I have a bunch of collections saved here. So I can save this one into summer tops. Actually, let's do 70s inspo because it's definitely 70s, and hit okay. So then I can add it to my collection, reference it back later. Another thing I can do, which is always an option, is say I like this top, but I'm not willing to pay 19 bucks. I hit this little envelope here and I literally just DM the seller and say, hey, are you willing to accept, wow, I cannot type, accept maybe $15, right? Send them a message, and basically you can do a negotiation via messaging, and then the seller basically will adjust the price of the listing if you guys come to an agreement, and then you can just purchase it immediately after they adjust the price. So that's kind of how I use Depop. It's also a fun app just for inspiration. Like if you don't want to even buy anything, but you just want to get inspired of like what's out there and how people are styling things, use it like you use Pinterest almost. And then if you decide you want to pull the trigger on something, you could do that later. So Depop is great for shopping trends. You can also find great deals on there, and you can negotiate. You just have to do it directly via message with the seller. The other reason I love Depop, a ton of my favorite influencers list their closets on Depop. So it's also a great way to just shop your favorite influencer stuff. So for example, I love Courtney from Always Judging, and she always lists stuff on Depop, and I actually bought one of her pieces recently. Just amazing. One, it's so cool because it's like one of my favorite influencers, and like I have one of her items. But I bought this Paco Rabanne silk embroidered skirt from her closet, and it's like spot on in the trend of like floral, 90s floral stuff that I was on the hunt for. This beautiful silk embroidered midi skirt that's like so 90s, and it was hers, so it was like really well taken care of. She probably only wore it a handful of times, so it's like basically brand new. And this is a skirt that goes for like 500 plus normally, and I got it from her for 75 bucks. So such a steal. And yeah, Depop is awesome. It's just awesome. That's kind of it. That's all my tips. That's all my tips for shopping vintage / thrifting, even though it's like not really thrifting online. It's really fun. It's also nice in the sense that like you can kind of do it in your own time. You don't have to like spend 3 hours at the thrift store looking for stuff. Cool thing about shopping these sites is like the pieces have already been curated. So like, yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit more money, but like you skip that step of like having to dig through everything. I know that not everybody loves digging through things. I do. It's just like part of the process that I enjoy. But in times where you can't make it to the store, or if it's something you don't enjoy, shopping vintage and thrifted pieces online is an option. And there is a lot of amazing stuff out there if you just know how to navigate that space. Hopefully these tips are helpful. If you guys have other questions about shopping vintage thrifting online, drop me a comment and I'll answer it to my best ability. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Show this girl some love and subscribe to my channel. I try to do weekly videos of, you know, just my closet, styling tips, thrifting, all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.
Don't take it personal, I ain't lying. I ain't hiding, I've been grinding, multiplying. I've been trying to get my weight up, staying prayed up, meditating and taking time away.